everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So I haven't done a book haul in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and do one, and this is probably going to be a pretty big one, so I'm just going to try and go through these relatively fast. So to start with, I have two more Mary Roach books, which is Grunt, The Curious Science of Humans at War, and Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law. And Fuzz is one that I know a little more about. It's basically times that animals have been taken to court because they broke the law. And it just sounded kind of like a what moment. And yeah, something that I would enjoy. And then I have Naneti Okorafor, I believe that's how you pronounce their name. The Desert Magician's Duology, which is Shadow Speaker and Like Thunder. I read one of their books, Remote Control, last year, and I found it very interesting. And she writes, I believe she wants it to be referred to as Afrofuturism, which they're set in Africa in the near future where we have more technology, and then it combines it with the kind of traditional living. And just the way she writes, her plots are very interesting, her characters are very interesting, and I was interested to read something longer by her because Remote Control was a short story. I picked up The Stars Are Dying and The Night is Defying, because again, this was just something that sounded very interesting. If I remember correctly, it's Fallen Stars. And yeah, that just sounded extremely interesting to me, to see what stars would be like as humans. And then, of course, this should come as no surprise, So You'll Remember Me. Obviously, I love Abby Jimenez, so I'm going to read everything that she writes, and this just sounds like another very emotional romance as well. And now I have to try to get this huge book out. I mean, this is absolutely huge. This is Tales from the Loop, and yes, this did inspire the show on Amazon, and I was under the impression that these were photos that he had manipulated, but they're actually paintings, and there are tons of them in here. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I am obsessed with this show. I absolutely loved it, so I'm super excited to see like the source material. And just, yeah, I know there's two more books in this as well, but this is the only one that my library had. And like I said, this is like just completely and totally oversized, and I love that fact because it gives you so much space to like see the pictures. And yeah, just super excited. Blood of Hercules was one that I picked up, again, kind of because of the cover, but then it also sounded interesting. The tagline is, I'm just a girl, and as it turns out, I'm Hercules. I'm struggling to survive in a Titan-infested world where Spartans, immortals from 12 royal families, rule over all. And that just sounded really interesting to me. And like I said, I also like the cover with the gold and silver. So yeah, I was definitely interested to pick that one up, and that's part of a series as well. I think it's going to be a trilogy. And then I picked up Phantasma. I do want to get Enchantra at some point in the near future, because I want to kind of read them back to back. That's been my goal. And this is one that I picked up because it was compared to Caraval, and I did really enjoy Caraval and the idea of the games behind it. Then I picked up Fall of Rune and Wrath, which is another Jennifer L. Archimont book starting a series. And this is one where the world was destroyed by gods. Only 9 cities are spared. So that was definitely sounding interesting to me. Then this one, The New Couple in 2B, my dad actually picked up because obviously I like purple. My library is purple. I like green as well, but yeah, so obviously this is like purple. So he saw it and I was like, hey, you'd probably like this, it's purple. It's like, well, let me see it. It's like, huh, that does sound interesting. And obviously this is like a thriller / mystery. And then The Last Bookstore on Earth, which just the title, because I love bookstores, and then reading the description, it's a dystopia, and they take refuge in the last bookstore? Okay. Ever since the first storm wreaked havoc, 17-year-old Liz Flannery has been holed up in an abandoned bookstore where she used to work, trading books for supplies with few survivors. So yeah, that one definitely sounded interesting as well. And then I have Breath of the Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. And this is kind of based off of the martial arts that Bruce Lee did in a way. Shannon Lee is his relative to some point. I believe Shannon Lee is his daughter. Okay. So Shannon Lee is Bruce Lee's daughter, and she basically helped Fonda Lee write this book because the main character is supposed to be inspired by Bruce Lee. So again, just found that very interesting and just kind of like that idea. Kingdom of the Wicked is by Carrie Maniscalco. So obviously I got this series because I enjoyed her Princes of Hell series, as you've seen in my 2 videos about that. So I wanted to read this because I understand that it's connected to it, and it is about wrath, I think it is. Yes, either that's what it says at least. So yeah, I got that. Then, much earlier in the year, I picked up some Christmas romances, which are Make the Season Bright, which is supposed to be like an emotional romance, and then The Merriest Misters, which is supposed to be kind of comedic. It's supposed to be something along the lines of the Santa Claus. Then I got a book called Youth Juice, which is supposed to be kind of like a social horror literary fiction, and the fact that it's this pale pink but with that title kind of intrigued me as well. And then I got The Night Ends with Fire, and my library has been getting a lot of sprayed edges for whatever reason, but I'm not mad at it because like I love looking and being able to see these editions. And yeah, this is supposed to be the Three Kingdoms. I think it's supposed to be like Milan vibes, if I remember correctly. I got also the rest of the Grishaverse, which would be the Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom duology, and then King of Scars and the Rule of Wolves duology. And obviously I just want to continue that after having read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Then I got Jessa Hastings, the Magnolia Park / Daisy Hates series. And I also got her Never, which is a dark, slightly dark retelling of Peter Pan, with Captain Hook being the main male in the book. I also got Skin, which I don't remember. I had seen something about this and picked it up. I cannot remember what it is now, because this is another one. It's been a little while since I picked up, but it did sound interesting. Okay. It is about 15-year-old Mary Saw, who every new moon must shed her skin, turning into a fireball witch who must fly into the night. And that one just sounded really interesting to me. Then I got Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. I haven't read the Artemis Project, or Artemis I think it's just called. I didn't read that, but this one sounded more interesting, especially with the whole, it's actually in space on a spaceship instead of just on the moon. Why I found that more interesting, I'm not entirely sure. And then I got a nonfiction, Islands of Abandonment, which is about how nature takes over where humans has left. And you can kind of see like the railroad tracks and the tunnel, I guess, in here. And yeah, the cover just looked interesting, and the idea sounds really interesting as well. Then I had been seeing the Summer of Broken Rules mentioned quite a bit, so I picked that up. And plus it sounds kind of cute with the game of Assassin. And I do know that there is some other stuff going on in there, but that was like one of the things that drew me to it. I got also Our Infinite Fates, and this one just sounded interesting. It says they've loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes. They've killed each other in every one. And my library had the one with gilded edges. So yeah, this one definitely sounds interesting to me as well. Obviously they all do, or I wouldn't be getting them. But I'm a little less picky when it comes to library books. You know, just because. But then I got Yum Katase's 2 books, The Stardust Grail and The Deep Sky. And again, these are just sci-fis. I had seen a review of, I believe it was The Deep Sky, and then I saw that The Stardust Grail is, I believe, her newest book, or newer one, so I just went ahead and got both of those. Then I got 2 of the books, or the 2 books that my library has by Olivia Waite that are published right now, and that is The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows and The Hellions Waltz, both just short little romances. But I got these because she is writing a sci-fi cozy mystery called Murder by Memory that sounded interesting, so I decided to check out some of her other books. And then along with the cozy mysteries, I have 2 Jennifer J. Choi's, and that is Hot Pot Murder, because my library does not have the first book in this series, apparently. And then Ill-Fated Fortune, which is in another series of hers. This one is Magical Fortune Cookie, and this one is LA Night Market. Then I have Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen. Well, I shouldn't say, I should say I have the whole series of the Noodle Shop Mysteries. And I kind of like the different titles. You know, you've got Death by Dumpling, hoping he has Wonton Terror, Killer Kung Pao, Misfortune Cookie. I just think they're kind of like cute and punny. So that was another one. Then for a video I am working on that will be published hopefully within the next couple weeks, I have The Charlie Method, and then I have The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. I actually didn't pick either of these up with the intention for that video. The Charlie Method was picked up with the intention of just a romance. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store was actually for another challenge. And then I have Eliza Clark's Penance. She's an author that I've just been kind of interested in. I haven't read anything by her, though I do own Boy Parts. But yeah, so I just picked this up because you can get a relatively short book from the library, might as well, and the premise sounded interesting as well. Before I picked up... Okay, there we go. Before I picked up the Charlie Method, I picked up the Graham Effect and the Dixon Rule, the first 2 books in that series. So that was another reason I picked that one up, was just to continue with the series. Then I picked up Quicksilver, just because I've seen this be talked about a lot, and decided I was going to try it out. And then I got Air by Sabaa Tahar, and this is, I believe it says it's in the same universe as An Ember in the Ashes, which I also have, and I need to get to that pretty soon as well. I picked up as well some mangas. I got Witch Hat Atelier Kitchen, and thing that I thought was really cool about this, I've read a couple volumes of it, is that it actually has recipes that you can follow in it, which I thought was super cool, and just it's yeah, a really cool little series. Obviously I like the original, so I got that. Then I picked up Daytime Shooting Star. The library had the whole series, and this is a Soho Beat. And yeah, I picked this up because it's by the same author as In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, and this is one that I wanted to read, that is about a girl who everybody mistakes for a boy, and it just sounded kind of cute, and I decided I wanted to read this other series by her as well. And then I picked up Last Quarter by Ai Yazawa. And of course, Ai Yazawa wrote Nana, which I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I'm very upset that it isn't finished. But then she wrote as well Paradise Kiss, which I read and enjoyed, and Neighborhood Story, which is actually the prequel to that, and unfortunately they haven't finished publishing that in America. There's going to be 4 volumes, and they're up to volume 2, possibly 3 at this point, but this one sounds kind of the same. This is about 2 star-crossed lovers transcending time, and I feel like Ai Yazawa just does such a good job with like her characters and just like how they're developed, their dynamics, and she's very good at writing characters who, even though they might frustrate you with their choices, you want to know what they do. And I've said this about, I believe, all of her series that I've read, that they're very soap opera-ish, but I get into them, especially when I'm in that mood. And yeah, so I'm definitely excited to see what this is like. And I'm not sure where exactly it falls in like her stages of writing, and so like, you know, where it falls within all the other works. I do believe that it's not related to the other works, but yeah, it'd still be interesting. It's interesting too to kind of see like how her art changes over time, and I'm super excited to get this as a completed series as well, to just kind of work through her backlog. And I'm very glad that they're translating more of her works, because she definitely deserves her popularity. She's a great writer. And now, Kills Well with Others, I picked up because I enjoyed Killers of a Certain Age. I wasn't expecting it to be a series, but book 2. So that was a fun little surprise. I just found it a very fun and funny book, just the way it kind of leans into a little bit of the absurdity. And then we have The Dagger and the Flame, which is by Catherine Doyle. She is one of the co-writers of Twinned Crowns, which I did enjoy, and I'm still working on that trilogy, so I went ahead and picked this up. And then I got 2 YA thrillers, No Escape and Fright Night, and they're both by Maureen Stoffels, and they are both very short. So the one I actually was looking for was Escape Room, because I had heard about that one, but it sounds like she's a good author. Then I picked up Red Moon. There was a preview of this in one of the other books I had read. I believe it was in Children of Memory or Time, one of those. And obviously this is another sci-fi. And again, just that cover, I was like, okay, that sounds very interesting. And then I picked up Coco Malore's new book, Blue Sisters, because I did enjoy Cleopatra and Frankenstein, and the way she writes her characters, I just really, really enjoy. So I wanted to see what this was all about. And then I got Mistress of Lies, which I actually saw in another YouTube video. And I didn't realize this is a series. It says Age of Blood Volume 1. But this is, again, just sounded interesting. And it is about blood workers. And that's all I'm really going to say, because I feel like that's all you really need to know if you'd be interested or not. I also got Heavenly Tyrant, and I really, really, really need to read this because I loved Iron Widow, and I literally screamed at the end of it from the cliffhanger. And I'm thinking I might actually get that and reread it, and then go ahead and read this right after. And it's one of those that the first book was kind of predictable, had a lot of like tropes in it, but I just absolutely loved it. It was 5 stars, even though it had its issues. And then the final 3 books I have are The Maid and the Crocodile, which, ooh, that cover has some shine to it. This is about a girl who can transform into a crocodile. That was all I need to know. Just sounded interesting. I like the shifter aspect, and I love seeing like different versions of that where they shift into different animals. And then I have The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy and The Undermining of Twyla and Frank. And this is the one that I was more interested in, but it's book 2. This one has dragons, and that's why I was interested in it. So yeah, that is now finally my book haul. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you've read any of these, what you think about them. Do you have any of these that you're planning to read? And yeah, I always love interacting with you all in the comments. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you next time in the book cave.